Hey guys, it's G. Um, no one. I'm just here, and I was just actually just laying in bed, and I had something on my heart that I wanted to share. Um, but basically, we got an email from a gentleman who follows a LoveWorks blog, and he had a question for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the question and give you my answer, and just kind of share what's on my heart and how it relates to this question. So it says, "Hello guys. I recently watched G's video about how he came to be a father and his acceptance of being a gay man. My question, which may not be long enough for a video to be made around, is when you met Juan, was your coming out immediate, or did you continue to be on the DL and eventually you guys just live your lives openly? What what advice would you give a father coming out to his children?" So I get asked this question a lot because there are a lot of gay fathers out there. And really, just this past week, this is the third time that somebody has asked me this question. Um, but to answer the first part of the question, when I came out, it was well before I met Juan. I had a boyfriend um, that I was on the DL with when I first started, when I got divorced and when I first started dating men. But when I met Juan, I was already out of the closet. So we didn't have that issue within our relationship. He was out of the closet as well. Um, Now, what's interesting is when I first met Juan, my son lived here, and he was like about 6 or 7 at the time. My son lived in Atlanta, uh, and he was about to move away with his mom to Charleston. He was about to move away for a while, and at this time, I hadn't said anything to him about me being gay. He had been around some. He had never really been around a boyfriend of mine, or anything like that. So I don't want to say there was no reason to tell him that I was gay, but I just didn't. But at this time, he was about to move away to Charleston, and I knew that I wanted to let him know who I was and introduce him to even what gay was, period, before he was away from me. He had always been a strong presence in my life since birth, and this was the first time that he was really going to be away from me like this. And I knew that if he got away from me and got introduced to what gay was, that it was not going to be in the best way possible, not the way that I can teach him. So, I decided, I thought that it was a good opportunity. I really feel like the earlier you tell kids, the better, because it really is quite simple what what it means to be gay. It really is quite simple. But the older we get, and the more we get society's perceptions of what gay is in our heads, that's when it becomes more difficult. Um, so I decided I was going to tell him before he moved away. So basically, what happened was we were just it was real simple. We were sitting on the couch one day, and I said to him, I said, "Do you remember the last time Daddy had a girlfriend?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do." Uh, Shortly after I separated or got divorced from his mom, I still kind of dated women, and there was this one particular woman that I was holding on to the dream, I guess. But there was this one girl that I dated, and she came around some, so he knew who she was. So I was like, yeah, that's true. I'm surprised you remembered that because at this time it had been 3 years. He was only three or so when it happened. Um, but so he said yes, and I said, well, I said, Daddy probably won't have a girlfriend anymore again. And he was like, why? And I said, well, I don't really like girls like that anymore. I said, I like guys. And he said, oh, okay. And I said, do you know what it means when I say I like guys? And he was like, yeah. And I said, I like guys. Like normal, or not normal, but how a guy would typically like a girl. I like guys. And he's like, okay. And I said, so I'm gay, and that means that I'm gay. And he said, okay. And I said, you have any questions or anything like that? No. And that was basically it. Now, we've had tons of conversations. I mean, since then, obviously, it's an ongoing conversation because, I always want to check in with him, especially when he was a little bit maybe younger than he is now. He's 13 now. But I always would want to check with him to remind him, like, you remember that, kind of like Daddy's gay. You remember that, right? So, and then at this time, Juan and I were getting, deep into our relationship. So he learned that Juan was my partner. And then when me and Juan got married, he learned that that was my husband and all those great things. But it's still an ongoing conversation, especially as he is introduced to, you know, people that might not have a great opinion of gay people. So we run into some issues like that here and there. It hasn't really been that bad, to be honest with you. But it's an ongoing conversation. And I think that it's awesome that you want to come out to your kids. Um, so in the second part of your question, what advice would I give to a father coming out? Um, my advice to you would be just to be real. Be real with yourself. One thing I said to myself is that I refuse to teach my son to live in shame about anything, about who he is, and the fact that he has a gay father is a part of who he is, and he has to embrace that. Um, I try to educate him and let him know that there will be ignorant people out there who are not going to agree with, your family, and that's just real. But that's not really important what they think. Just how you have to prepare yourself to be criticized and teased in school for having a big head or a big nose or any of those things. You might have some kids that's going to teach you. I mean, who's going to tease you about having a gay father? And it really stops and ends there. So I really am a big advocate of not teaching shame and raising my son to be shameful. And I believe that if I had not told him about me, um, and just kind of lived a lie around him, that was teaching him that I was ashamed of who I was. It was something to be ashamed of. It was a big deal, and all of those things. And I would just refuse to. I refuse to teach him those things. So, I just advise you to be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, and just be honest with them. And being honest with yourself will allow you to be honest with them, and they will respect you for being honest. And you just can't really go wrong with that. If you just follow and speak from your heart, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong with that, and they will respect you for it. I don't know how old your kids are, but I mean that's just the best advice I can give you. And also realize that as you are coming out to them, if this is a big surprise to them, that's something that they're going to have to get comfortable with as well. The older they are, the longer it's probably going to take for them to maybe get used to it. But let them become comfortable with it. Let them be able to ask you any questions, and just be open and just continue to love them, because really nothing is changing. So, hope that helps you. This was actually an add-on to the last video because I forgot to answer this part of the question. So, sorry for the bad editing. It's just from my old iPhone 4S and ain't even a 5. So, but the message is there. Thank you for following. Thank you guys. Love you.